Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the first of a series of Pakistan-Afghanistan debates hosted by Tolo News in Kabul and Express News in Islamabad. Sarhad Ke Us Par is the first of its kind TV show that directly links Islamabad to Kabul. On this show tonight, we will discuss what role can Pakistan play in bringing peace to a war-ravaged Afghanistan ahead of the US troop pullout in 2014. We will also talk about the misperceptions that both countries harbor against each other and whether we are moving towards a reconciliation or a confrontation at a time when desperate efforts are being made to engage the Taliban. In just a short while, we will cross over to Kabul, where my colleague Mujahid Kakar waits with the panel. But first, let me introduce you to our panel right here. We have with us retired Lieutenant General Asad Durrani, who was the Director General of Pakistan's ISI agency from 1990 to 1992. He has also served as Pakistan's ambassador to Germany and Saudi Arabia. Right next to him is Senator Haji Muhammad Adil, a senior leader of the Awami National Party, which is in government in the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, neighbouring Afghanistan. He is also the chairman of the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations. Last but not least, Sheikh Rashid Ahmed, the chief of the Awami Muslim League, who was the Federal Minister for Information and Broadcasting under the Musharraf regime, which has been repeatedly accused by the Karzai administration of aiding the Afghan Taliban. Along with them, we have an audience and very special guests amongst the audience, stakeholders, people who not only keep a keen eye on Afghanistan-Pakistan relations, but also write about it. Over to you, Mujahid Kakar in Kabul.
Thank you, Manija. Here in Kabul, I have a guest with me, Mr. Hanif Atmar, a former Interior Minister, and also Mr. Amrullah Saleh, a former head of the Directorate for National Security, and a bunch of youth Afghans. And my first question is that the blame game between the Afghanistan and Pakistan, what's happening in Afghanistan, Pakistan always has been blamed for that. And also, in meantime, when something happening in Pakistan, so the Pakistani politicians, they always blame Afghans for what's going wrong in Pakistan. So my question is from General Asad Durrani, and after that, Mr. Amrullah Saleh will also respond.
Yeah. So back to you, General Asad Durrani. You have heard the question, the misperceptions between the two countries as we were talking about, and the blame game.
Well, there are plenty of misperceptions, as one could expect in a situation like that. I think more of them exist on the Pakistan side than the Afghans, because the Afghans have been here, they know the situation here. But sometimes we think, I'm talking about the misperceptions, we think that, well, Afghanistan will one day become, perhaps because of the new development, some sort of a stronghold of the Indian presence, which the history shows it has not been. The second misperception that I find is, we think that the Durand line is a big issue and it has to be settled. And of course, the third one is perhaps existing from on the Afghan side, that we are looking for some sort of proxies. We are looking for people who would be, providing us that sort of support that the others cannot. Again, my take on this is, once the Afghans are masters of their own destiny, then they decide on their own. They will act as an independent state, as a sovereign state, looking after their interest, and one of their prime interests is that, look, we can play hardball with Pakistan, but Pakistan is just too precious an asset for us.
Mujahid, you have heard what Mr. Asad Durrani had to say over here. He's talked about the misperceptions here. But by and large, it seems that we have a democratic government here, and our foreign minister has said that we want an Afghan-led peace process. So don't you think that in the last 5 years, Pakistan may have actually drastically changed the way it looks at Afghanistan?
First of all, I want to convey my salam and regards to the panelists in Islamabad. The reality is, despite the fact, as General Saab Durrani said, Afghans consider Pakistan a very precious asset, but that asset has inflicted so much pain on the Afghans, especially after the withdrawal of the Soviet Union. as they have tried to dominate Afghanistan through their proxy groups. The other question you asked was the Afghan-led peace process. Of course, we are seeing a change in Pakistan's attitude. Let me be very clear and specific how we interpret that change. In the past, Pakistan establishment was reaching out to Pashtuns of Afghanistan saying, this is a northern-dominated government and you have to rebel against it. Now they are reaching out to so-called non-Pashtuns and they say, this is a Pashtun government. We want to facilitate talks between you and the Taliban. Let us bypass the Afghan government. This brings us to a simple conclusion. Pakistan doesn't want a functioning state in Afghanistan. So whenever they have the chance, they want to bypass it and factionalize the Afghan society and dominate our country.
Mujahid, can I actually throw back to Haji Adil Saab, who is the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee? Would you like to respond to what Mr. Saleh has said there in Kabul?
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, friends of the Afghan friends in Kabul. See, Pakistan really made many mistakes when there was non-elected government, journalist government. They thought in past, Afghanistan is our province, and they treat Afghanistan as a province. I think the new elected, from last 5 years, the elected governments try to make better relations with Afghanistan, and with the efforts of President Zardari and President Karzai, I think the relations between Pakistan and Afghanistan comparatively better.
Right.
Even in the common intelligentsia of Pakistan, they don't think like in the past.
Right.
I think the solution to solve the Afghanistan problem is only let the Afghan people to decide their own fate.
Right.
What they want, how they want. It is not Pakistan's responsibility. Whether they want friendship with India, they want more investment from India, why should we object? I think Afghanistan is independent and the Afghan people can solve their own problem if the neighbors not interfere in their affairs.
But Haji Sahib, they accuse us of still interfering in their affairs. In fact, they say that we are trying to sabotage the talks with the Taliban, the peace talks
I don't
with the
think,
Taliban.
but there are still, you see, they are safe havens of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda in Pakistan, and even some safe havens are Pakistani Taliban in Afghanistan.
You're referring to Mullah Fazlullah?
Of course. So I think we'll ask our unwanted guests, please leave our country.
All right. So the message from Pakistan at least is very clear. They do not want safe havens either in Pakistan nor in Afghanistan, and they're very clear that at least this political government wants an Afghan-led peace process and they do not want to meddle in Afghanistan's affair. At least the civilian side seems to be very clear, Mujahid.
In Pakistan, sometimes they call good Taliban and bad Taliban. And even when they, on the issue of the peace process between the Afghan government and the Taliban, when Pakistan committed that they will facilitate that talks, and then when the Afghan side tried to organize a type of peace jirga, and then the Pakistani ulama were failed to show up in that jirga. And after that, we had like a type of fatwa from the Ulama Council of the Pakistan that the jihad against the infidels or the foreign troops is like every Muslim have the right to take the weapon and start jihad against the infidel troops. I want to ask Mr. Hanif Atmar to respond to that. And after that, I want Mr. Sheikh Rashid Ahmad, because in one hand, Pakistan is the ally in a war against terror with the US, and then other hand, we have some Pakistani politicians which they ask the Muslims that they should start jihad against the foreign troops in Afghanistan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salam to all. Let me actually point out to a couple of issues that came up. Issue number one is to correct the misperception about the misperception. It's not a war of misperceptions. It's a war of facts, a sad reality. Every day, there are 10 to 15 Afghans who lose their lives in Afghanistan. And unfortunately, a more or less similar number of civilians lose their lives in Pakistan. This is not about perception, it's about terrorism and the fact that the two nations have not been able to suppress the terrorism and save the lives of their innocent people. We will never be able to overcome that perception unless we address terrorism, the sanctuaries, and the enabling infrastructure that the terrorists have been enjoying. Number two, it is said that Afghans need to be on their own to make their decisions. We have been on our own. We are making our own decisions. And let me turn back to Durrani Sahib to say that it is our decision that we would like to pursue good relations with our brother country, Pakistan. But it is also our decision that that relationship will not come at the expense of anybody else. We would like to have a partnership, a good relationship with every neighboring or near neighboring country in this region. So Afghanistan does not need to be seen as a win or lose situation for somebody. We can be a win-win situation for every one of you, but that requires honest and effective cooperation from both sides. Now, back to the issue of blame game and accusations on both sides in terms of tolerance for sanctuaries. Well, my dear colleagues and friends, the time has come that we take honest and effective measures to address the terrorist sanctuaries wherever they are. Now, for that, Afghanistan has presented a roadmap to you. We are expecting now similarly effective actions from our brothers and sisters in Pakistan. Let me acknowledge the fact that we have seen signs of, maybe early signs of change and quite constructive change. I would like to welcome that, and I would like to see that change is translated into the implementation of mutual agreements, particularly the ones made in the UK last month. So perhaps the time has come for all sides to say now, enough is enough of the blame game. The time has come for effective and accountable action.
Right. Sheikh Rashid Saab, this is a question that I like to put to you because you have been seen as being sympathetic, at least, to the Afghan jihad. But what we are seeing here, what our friends in Afghanistan are saying, that it's unacceptable that there are sanctuaries here in Pakistan, and they say that that really is the crux of the problem.
Thank you very much, Maniza. When I was in a favor of Afghan jihad, the whole world was supporting Afghan jihad. We want peace in Afghanistan. Afghanistan peace is very important for Pakistan also. Nobody in Pakistan, civilian or army government, ever supported terrorism in this country. Unfortunately, these people are so strong, but if you start blame games, that's not good enough. We, the Pakistanis, we have 100, maybe 1,000 posts on the border to stop this terrorism, to stop this invasion. But what to do when there is no serious, when they ask to give these Taliban leaders, Mullah brothers and others, we have given to them. Right. But when we demand the terrorists, the people who are involved, and especially the Indian influence, double scenario standard, because Afghanistan is a geopolitically such an important country, and the superpowers' interest, and unfortunately, both the countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan, under the influence of American policies.